Good day, everyone. Tim from Timber Visions here. Welcome to part 2 of the 200-hour service on my Kioti DK 5320 SE. So in this part, we're going to change engine oil. Part 1, you saw me remove the loader after I greased it, and so I can access this area a little easier. So let's get into it. So these have a grill guard that you have to swing out of the way like that in order to open the hood. So swing that out of the way. It just has these pins that you pull, and then they lock in the out position like that. And you can just swing it down. Then there's a little lever over here. Bring it in so you can see that little L-shaped silver lever here. And you just give that a pull, and then it opens it up. So now we've accessed the engine bay. So the engine oil filter is right here. So in November of 23, at 52 hours, I changed this. And then down underneath, and I'll bring you down there after we get the oil pan, everything ready. There's 2 oil pan plugs. So let me get my tools and stuff ready, and we'll drain the engine oil. I did warm this thing up for a while. Took it for a nice little drive, and got out there and got her up to operating temp for a period of time. So that part is done. So now, time to grab the oil pan and a socket, and we'll get this done. So what you're seeing there is from the front of the tractor, looking towards the back. And there are 2 plugs here. That's the ones we need to drain. They take a 17mm socket. And the reason that there's 2 plugs is your front drive shaft literally goes in between here. So you see this on a lot of tractors, the subcompacts and compacts. So it's not something that's just this model of tractor. It's pretty much all this size. So we'll get this drained out. Both plugs pulled. I have an empty pan here. Oh shit. I'm going to do one at a time. It don't seem to be keeping up. Anyway. Oh, dripping oil in my face. It doesn't taste as good as you think it would. All right, here we go. Always keep some rags nearby so you can wipe the oil out of your mouth. Anyway, so we'll let that drain. And while that's draining, we'll work on the oil filter. Okay, so I got my new filter, and I put 7 of 2025 on there and $200. We're going to take off this old one. Now, on the initial oil changes, I've noticed a lot of people have issues with these being too tight. And this style of filter wrench really worked out well for me. So I highly recommend that style. Didn't have any issues with getting my filters off. I heard guys that had to they ended up having to like punch a hole in it with a screwdriver to get it to come off, things like that. So I did not have issues with that style wrench. So we got the old one off, and we just want to check that face and make sure that you don't have your O-ring sitting on the face of it, which we don't. And give it a little wipe. And I always like to, I don't fill my filter up with oil, but I do put some oil onto the O-ring of the new one. Just apply a little bit of engine oil on there. Just to lube it up, so to speak, so it spins on smoothly. So we got the new one here. We'll put that one on. These hoses go right by it, so it kind of have to make sure you don't cross thread it. There we go. And I just hand tighten. Make sure my fingers aren't greasy. And just go as far as my hands will allow me to tighten it. And that should be good. Now I'll put my oil plugs back in and we'll fill this up. Okay, so I kind of want to show you where the oil fill is. It's right here. This is the oil fill cap. Really not a handy spot to get to, but just want to show it to you before I take it out. So since that's in, that oil fill is in such a strange spot, you're gonna have to use a long neck funnel like this. So this takes 15W40 engine oil, diesel engine oil. This isn't the same as a gas motor oil. You know, we'll just pour this in here. It takes 1.95 gallons. So each of these jugs is a gallon. I got 2 of them. We shouldn't have to use both of them all the way, but it'll be close. That's all there is to filling it. All right, so after you get done filling it up with oil, run it for a little bit and let it settle. Make sure that you're still good for your engine oil level. We'll give it a few minutes for that oil to settle back down, but you know, the oil filter isn't full and all that stuff, so might be some cavities and stuff that need to get filled up. So always run it before you do your final check of engine oil level. I'm going to add a couple things onto this because I was looking at my owner's manual. If your dealer does not give you an owner's manual, contact them and tell them you need an owner's manual. There's no reason that you should get a brand new tractor without an owner's manual. Gives you all the information as far as how to maintain your piece of equipment. So I was looking this over, and I knew I had to do the engine oil, the transmission oil, hydrostatic oil, which is all the same oil, but you have, you know, it's like different sumps, if you will. And then the filters for all those, but then I need to replace my air cleaner and my fuel filter. So I'm going to add those to the engine oil section here. And then we'll have a third video where it just does a hydrostatic and hydraulic system. So that'll be part 3. So stick with me. We'll verify this. The engine oil's good. Finish up that part, and then we'll do some fuel filter, which I've never done it. So we'll be learning together. And the air filter I've checked, so I know how to do that. We'll just be changing it instead of just checking it this time. So pull out my dipstick here, give it a wipe. So when the loader's off, this is pretty easy to do. With the loader in the way, this is not as easy to do. So we're good. We're good there. So I'll get this engine fill cap put on there, and the engine oil section will be finished. Okay, so next we're gonna change the air filter. And there's these 3 little clip deals like this. Pull that off. Give it a tug. There is some dust. It's not as bad as some air filters I've seen. So this is the air filter for this tractor. I've had this thing, well, since I did the 50 hour. I bought it then because I was like, well, I'll need it eventually. But I just bought it then. There's a deal that it sits onto in the back. Squeezes in there like that. And then this always points down. This is where your moisture can come out. And just get these put on like that. There we go. Filter is changed. All right. So last we're going to do the fuel filter. So this is the fuel filter for this one. So there's like a little deal at the bottom, your water separator or whatever. That will be taken off of here and put onto the other one. So, but yeah, this I think we're going to want to also fill with diesel fuel before we put it on, just to help with the priming. Okay, so I have the drip pan sitting underneath here, and I've never had water in my fuel, so I don't know exactly how this is all going to go. I don't know if I'm supposed to unhook that wire first or what. Yeah, you're probably supposed to unhook this wire. Hopefully I didn't bugger it up too bad. So yeah, it's just a connector in the bottom there. All right, so now we'll take this off, grab it by the body of the filter. Unscrew this. Then this comes off of there, I'm guessing, because the other filter does not have that water separator bulb at the bottom of it. So it does have Or you could put a wrench on there or something. So I'll get an adjustable wrench. All right, so that thread's off of there. Now I did notice on my inside my filter box there's an O-ring, so I'm guessing that's to replace this guy here. So we'll get that O-ring off of there and replace it with a new one. Okay, here's a new O-ring. We'll slide it over top of that. Get it back down in that groove where the other one was. Okay, now we'll try this again. Now, I am going to thread this guy in now. I'm going to fill this up with diesel before I put it on there. Okay, so this is now full of diesel. I'll get this in here and see if I can't get it started. I need a rag. There's one in my pocket there. All right. Yes. Let's back into here. There. Should be good. Now, I'll just mark hours and date that I put that on. All right. July of 25 and 200 hours. All right, so that concludes the engine oil, air filter, and fuel filter for the DK 5320 SE tractor. So I think pretty much all your DKs are going to be about the same. And they will be very similar to like your CK also and your RS and your RX. But there will be differences, especially the filter numbers. But for my tractor here, everything that I put on today was the proper filter. So when we get into the next section, the hydrostatic hydraulic filter section, the first time I did it at 50 hours, there were some things that were wrong. So I will bring those up in that video. But hopefully this video was educational for you and got something out of it and helps you out if you have this tractor and you're coming up on your 200 hours or your 50 hour. 50 hour, you do the exact same thing here as far as engine oil. Drain the oil, change the filter, refill with oil. That's all the same as I did on the 50 hour for this. So the only real difference in this section was the air filter and the fuel filter. So those are all done. Good for another 200 hours now. So every 200 hours, all of this has to be done. So, and I hit 200 hours in about 2 years. So this is going to be every couple of years, unless I start using my tractor more frequently. Then, you know, it might be sooner. It might be every year. But I do know some people will change once a year, whether the hours are there or not. I don't know. I think the hours, as long as it's getting used on a fairly consistent basis, you can go by the hours. I know engine oil doesn't last forever, but the oils now, they seem to do pretty good. But yep, there we go. That's the $200 engine oil, filter, and fuel filter, air filter for the DK 5320 SE Coyote tractor. It's like a 2020, if I remember right. 2022, maybe 23. Yeah, it's a 2023. Anyway, I want to thank you for stopping in and watching this video. Until next time, be safe, brothers and sisters.